are standing in front of the speakers and the screen from the house of Lakey, from the Lakey Entertainment Tower. Jimmy on the microphone, just like the Lord intended. He says the things you're afraid to say in your car, in your kitchen, in your soul today. Information and infotainment for your mind, for your soul. From the house of Lakey to your house. Right now, this is the day the Lord has made. We will rejoice. We will praise. We'll be glad in it. Jimmy Lakey.
All right, welcome to the program, Lakey Unleashed, Unfiltered, and Unafraid. That's what I am. Glad to have you. Thank you, Brother Leroy. Again, knocking it out of the park when it comes to the music and the jingles and the introductions. How's everybody doing? It's Friday. We were not together the last few days. I was handling family business in the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area and made it back into town yesterday evening, late afternoon, and here we are together, Friday, coming back in here. See, this is how much producer Chad and I love you. Would have been just as easy for us to take another day off, but, you know, we know that we have to get everybody, all the crew has to get back together again, so here we are. It's the 6th day of February, Friday, year of our Lord, 2026. Thank you for not pestering me while I was off handling a little bit of family stuff, but glad to be back here on the program. It's a Lakey Unleashed Streamcast podcast broadcast event that we do every Monday through Friday. Glad to have all of you tuning back in as notifications are popping up all over the Googles, and people are saying, he's back. And some people say, I ain't going back. I walked away. Well, that's okay. Anyway, glad to have you here, the 6th day of February. This weekend's the big game. Super Bowl is what we're supposed to say, but you can't use that in any commercial aspect. So I love all the newscasts today. This morning, we're like, it's big game weekend. It's big game weekend. Everybody's afraid to say the phrase Super Bowl. So they're afraid the litigious society that we live in will get us in trouble. Who's going to watch the big game? Anybody out there going to watch the thing? I'm going to be watching it, and I don't really care which team. If I had to pick a preference, I like Darnold. He's got a great story. Drake May, I like him as well. So I'm kind of torn. It's kind of who I like better, but I don't care. I'll cheer for the Patriots, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I cheer for the Seahawks. I could be convinced either way. I'm just going to cheer for the good plays. If it's a good play, I'm going to say happy day. That's a very, very good thing. Anybody want to predict the winner? I guess the Vegas odds and the bookies out there are saying it's going to be Seattle. Seattle's favored by a few points. So I guess Seattle's going to win it. According to the betting markets and also the odds in Vegas show that Seattle's going to win that thing. But should be a good game. It is coming up on Sunday. And, of course, Monday, we'll talk about some of the commercials that might have been seen there. Here's a question, though, that's not just commercials. It's going to be the halftime show. This guy named Bad Bunny, who hates ice and doesn't really probably like America that much, but anyway, Bad Bunny, that's my opinion. Bad Bunny's going to perform the halftime show. Been very controversial that Bad Bunny is not necessarily the guy that you want to entertain the masses. Why did they choose him? Is it because they're trying to play into the Hispanic market? I don't know, but he's a Puerto Rican guy, and I guess he's donating some money to charity. That's fine. But artistry, people saying, well, what about the rest of America that doesn't necessarily know Bad Bunny, want to know Bad Bunny? And after the last many years of some lewd and nasty, tasteless shows, it seems as if the NFL would want to appeal to the family entertainment value that a lot of times is the families gathered around all ages having a big Super Bowl party, but they don't want to, and they have chosen not to. And so Bad Bunny is going to be the halftime show. And I ask you this question: which halftime show are you going to watch? Remember, there are some options on the halftime show. Turning Point USA is going to be having its own halftime show. It's called the All-American Halftime Show. And if you don't want to watch the Puerto Rican musician Bad Bunny, who with his only words that he could speak last week at the Grammys were "Ice Out," like he's Arnold Schwarzenegger, "Ice Out." It marked the first time a Spanish language album had won Album of the Year, which come as no surprise. Hollywood left trying to force Americans to accept this idea of our demographics and culture being replaced. This is a column at the Gateway Pundit, but it's very true. The first time a Spanish language album at the Grammys ever won Album of the Year, because the Hollywood left wanted to feature Bad Bunny. Now, they wanted to tell you that your demographics in America and the English language and all our culture is dead, and you have to accept that of Bad Bunny. And then Bad Bunny delivered an entire acceptance speech in Spanish. And this week he's going to be part of the halftime show. And you have to ask yourself the question, who's going to watch the halftime show? The All-American Halftime Show, which is sponsored by Turning Point USA, is going to stream live on free on X, on Rumble, and on YouTube. Also, the Daily Wire, Real America's Voice, Trinity Broadcasting Network, a Christian network, is going to carry it. Charge, the National News Desk, NTD.com, which is New Tang Dynasty, and One American News, OAN. So if you want to know where the official site is and how to find it in your area, you go to AmericanHalftimeShow.com, AmericanHalftimeShow.com, or to TPUSA.com. Now, I'm watching it with some friends, and we will be partaking in cigars and having a good time. I think we should vote there at the event that I'm going to be at as to whether we watch the Turning Point version or the Bad Bunny version. So there's your question of the day. Now that I've told you how readily accessible the Real American Halftime Show is going to be, Daily Wire, Real American Voice, Trinity Broadcasting Network, Charge, the National News Desk, NTD.com, One American News, and all the other links are at AmericanHalftimeShow.com. Now that I have told you or where the halftime show, the alternative will be, how many of you plan to watch the Turning Point version or the Bad Bunny? Kid Rock's going to be there. Some country stars are going to be there, and it's going to be an alternative out there. Now, I will have to let you know something, that if you want to send a statement to the NFL, your televisions are tracked. And so if you want to watch if you're going to watch the Turning Point when you're trying to send a signal, you turn off. Don't if you can change the channel or just turn off. If you keep the stream going of the NFL when you're beaming something on a computer screen, NFL's still going to think you're watching it. So just so you know, if you're going to watch a halftime show and you're trying to make a statement, maybe you got two screens, you want to watch both of them and see which one is the best. But if you do want to make a statement, you need to make sure you turn off the game at that point, turn it back on when you're done. That way the stream and the algorithm say, oh, people turned this thing off. They switch the channels. Even if you go to a different channel, it doesn't matter. But which halftime show do you plan to watch? And you need to work out the logistics of that. I don't even know if I get TBN. That was a big news story when I was in Dallas. A Trinity Broadcasting Network, which is based down there, is actually going to be airing it, which is quite interesting because it's a solid, only Christian network. And this is not by any instance advertised as a Christian show. It's a Turning Point show. And people like Kid Rock, who have some lifestyles and practices that some of the people at TBN might not appreciate, they're going to air it. So it's a big controversy in Dallas. So I don't even know if I get Trinity Broadcasting Network. I have no clue if I do, but that may be an easy one. I know I don't get One American News. I used to. So you got to plan ahead, my friends. Plan ahead and find out how you're going to watch this thing. So far, it looks like everybody's going to be watching the Turning Point USA halftime show. So you make sure you turn off the Super Bowl, go to the dog show, whatever you change it to. That way the algorithm of especially if you're on a stream app, the stream goes, oh, they turned that off. Watch it tank there. All right, what else we have? The Super Bowl halftime show is there. This Savannah Guthrie story that continues to grow throughout the week, getting a lot of news coverage. I hate to say it, it's a very tragic situation. I watched Savannah Guthrie read her statement while I was in Dallas. We haven't got to talk about it, and heartbreaking for sure. And it was hitting a little close to home for me because my mother is now this next week, she turns 82 years old. Savannah's mother is a little bit older, and just the heartbreak, the not knowing, the uncertainty of it. What a tragic situation. I will have to admit, and you can call me as the Scrooge or something, after watching a little bit of Laura Ingraham last night, and she had like 45 minutes of coverage. And then it goes to the Jesse Waters. I'm trying to keep scrolling because I fast forward. I don't watch the whole show usually. I fast forward to any interview on CNN, Fox, or whatever I want to watch. And I couldn't get to any interviews because all the interviews were about this tragic, what seems to be a kidnapping out there. Evidently, somebody has been arrested, but not for the kidnapping. They're reporting now that there was a ransom note that was sent to TMZ, and I guess they think that maybe it's really kind of not a lot of information. They think that one may be legitimate, but a California man is accused of sending a phony ransom note to Savannah Guthrie's family about her missing mother, according to a complaint filed yesterday. Derek Kalela is in mid-40s. He messaged Guthrie's daughter, Annie, and son-in-law, Tommaso Cioni, about the 84-year-old on Wednesday. And did you get the Bitcoin? We're waiting on our end for the transaction. He sent a message out there, and he's just an imposter from California. And they tracked that down really quick, and he was arrested immediately, sending a phony ransom note. So that's a sick and twisted guy. He looks like in the photo, it looks like he might have gotten bored of the Minnesota protest and decided to just start sending fake ransom notes. I'm just saying it looks like that. I'm not saying he did, but it looks like he could have been somebody on one of those Minnesota protests. But he's been arrested 3 minutes after sending the text. Data obtained by authorities showed they made a 9-second call to an unidentified family member of Nancy Guthrie, according to court docs, which did not name the relative he allegedly called. So this guy's in some big trouble. He has been arrested, and he's on his way, or he's in the pokey now. That was a fake ransom note. But the mystery of this story is continuing to grow, and we'll continue to follow it, I'm sure. And I hated it last night, but every time I was like, I'm not watching all this. I'm here to watch the interviews, highlights and lowlights. And every time I went to a show, any show, a lot of it was dominated by the Guthrie coverage, which is fine. I want that coverage to help. But after a while, I'm like, okay, I've heard this before. It's just a different host doing it. So I had to move on last night, but definitely a sad situation for Savannah Guthrie, and now a fake ransom note agonizing the misery. That person is a sick and twisted individual, and I hope he gets the maximum amount of time and charges that is possible for doing that type of thing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, Tuesday, we did not do the show. Had planned to do the show on Tuesday and take off Wednesday and Thursday, and at the last minute, producer Chad and I had to catch a flight on Tuesday, and so producer Chad and I decided that we would not do the show on Wednesday, Tuesday as well. So that means also she was not available anyway. She messaged us and I can't do it. And we said, oh, good. Well, if you're not going to do it, we're not going to do it. So we were kind of torn, and then Laura said she could. We said, okay, let's skip it. And so Laura Carno was not here on Tuesday, and you did not get the joy of hearing Laura Carno. So ladies and gentlemen, as we do every Tuesday this time, we're going to welcome her a little bit earlier here on a Friday edition of the show. I know it's exciting, but ladies and gentlemen, prepare your hearts. You get to see Laura Carno on a Friday. Everybody stand by, my friends. Stand by.
To the Colorado Dome of Dummies. She cuts through the noise. Yeah, she does. She's packing heat. Defends your right to keep and bear. Smartest woman in Colorado. You know she's always there. She keeps kids safe in school. FasterColorado.org. That's FasterColorado.org. Locked and loaded. Laura Carno on the Lakey Show. Locked and loaded. Laura Carno on the Lakey Show. Oh, don't mess with her. Locked and loaded with Laura Carno on Jimmy Lakey Unleashed.
Laura Carno. Here's Laura Lakey Carno, Laura Carno, on the Lakey Unleashed show, and she's locked and loaded, and that's not about her drinking habits, my friends. That is about her real life, her real life activities. She's locked and loaded. How'd you like that? Sister Gloria there. We got a rotation here.
I like that. And Sister Gloria says FasterColorado.org twice.
She does say, she says it wrong.
No, she says it twice. No, she says it
twice.
Right.
Oh, she says it right.
Yeah.
Does that get mixed up? .com.org. You say tomato, I say tomato. It all gets there. So eventually it kind of winds its way there.
Are we talking about tomatoes again?
Yeah, and cats.
Too early.
And cats. Ladies and gentlemen, Laura Carno. I know, shocking. Everybody's shocked now that Laura's in the room on a Friday, but welcome to the program. You were in Vegas, and I messaged you to have fun in Vegas, and you said there's nothing to be enjoyed about Vegas. Are you not a Vegas fan?
So I'm not a gambler, not a huge drinker, but my aunt is there, recently widowed, and so she's got some stuff going on, and so I was there to help her out, and I just was not able to get consistent enough Wi-Fi. My aunt still has a flip phone, so.
Well, so does producer Chad, but we don't judge him.
He does not.
I'm sorry. I just made that up. All right, Laura Carno, good to have you here on the program. I love Vegas. I don't gamble a lot, and I sometimes don't drink a lot. Sometimes I drink a little bit. But I do tell you I like Vegas. It's people watching. I go there for only people watching, and I'll spend 2 or 3 days in Vegas and never put a penny in a machine or on a table, and I'm perfectly content with that. It's fun to people watch there, and some people are worthy of watching.
Yes. So I have to tell you, in the airport yesterday when I was coming home, number one, I think that the Las Vegas airport has more people sleeping per capita who just cannot stay awake because they've been at a convention and they're just, hungover and they're sleeping while they're waiting for their flight. But the other thing, I was standing there waiting for my flight, and this lady comes up to me, drunker than a skunk, and just started asking me questions and what flight is this, and really loud. And I'm like, I got accosted by a drunk woman in the Las Vegas airport. Things like that don't happen. Outside of Vegas. So.
I always love the flights to Vegas. Everyone is so perky, and it's a party atmosphere going to Vegas. You get on the flight home, everybody's like, close the blind. I cannot bear this. I don't want to see anything right now.
Exactly.
Yeah. And people are like, I guess I don't have a house. I just mortgaged it at the gambling table, but that's all right. All right, Laura, let's get into some news here. For years on the radio, you and I covered the Colorado state legislature, and we talked about this lady years ago, Republican, who sponsored a bill to ban powdered alcohol, which I didn't know was a thing, but she really was going to make her legislative statement on banning powdered alcohol at the Colorado state legislature. We shut that one down, you and I, you probably more than me, and that one went away. But now there's a new powdered alcohol bill, except they're not worried about the powdered alcohol. They're worried about what? Tamales?
Yeah. So again, this isn't a powdered alcohol bill. And for those who weren't around then, somebody had created a formula for powdered alcohol. So you're going hiking, you don't want to bring alcoholic beverages because they're heavy. And so it's a powder, and you take your powder up in your backpack, and then you get stream water, whatever you're doing, those who like to hike. And you've got your drink when you get to your campground. And when you and I were talking about it, we said, we should throw this dude a parade. We shouldn't be banning his product. This is awesome. It's America. Yeah. We invent new products. And so it was Representative Joanne Winholtz, and I don't know, maybe we had some impact, but that bill got killed. So this year, it's not a powdered alcohol bill, but it's the one I'm going to be obsessed with, because it's the same principle as powdered alcohol. With powdered alcohol, you and I were saying, you're an adult. If you want to put liquid alcohol, powdered alcohol, whatever, into your body, go for it. This is America. You get to decide what you want to put into your body, right? Like, gummies or psilocybins or whatever. So maybe we can agree on that across the aisle. So there is a Cottage Foods Act that says if you're going to sell tamales from the back of your trunk, or sell pies at the fair or whatever, that you have to comply with all of these cottage food laws. And the way I look at it, Jimmy, is it is my job to know what my neighbor puts into her apple pie or what my neighbor puts into his tamales. That is my job. Buyer beware, my job, not the government's. So the Cottage Food Acts, the Cottage Food Act is all about like all these labels and disclaimers and people coming in to check the temperature of your oven and temperature of your refrigerator and all this BS. And so Representative Ryan Gonzalez has now, and he ran this last year, and this is again in Colorado for those outside of the state. He ran it last year, it got killed. Now he has a Democrat co-sponsor. It's Representative Monica Duran, second most powerful Democrat in the House. And so what they're doing is they're easing up on some restrictions. One is you have to take a safety course. It's not going to do a dang thing, but whatever. They're also going to impose some fines if you do bad things. That's fine. It just don't do bad things. It also removes the $10,000 cap on revenue that these people can earn. What business is it of the state of Colorado to say you can make tamales or your apple pie, but you can't earn more than $10,000? It's such crap. So anyway, it's been assigned to the Agriculture, Water, and Natural Resources Committee in Colorado. It doesn't have a date yet, but I'm going to follow this one. This will be my 2026 obsession that we can, revisit as we'd like.
It's interesting that, first of all, Ryan Gonzalez, if I'm not mistaken, he's on the red team, not the blue team, right?
Correct. Yep.
And he says that this bill is an effort to ease regulatory burden on immigrant constituents who wish to sell their ethnic cuisine.
Yes.
So how is this going to ease regulatory burden? To me, it sounds like it adds some regulatory burden.
Yeah, it's taking some of the stuff out that's in it currently, like they can't be resold. Can only be sold in Colorado. They can't make more than $10,000. You have to list all your common allergens. So there's a bunch of stuff that's taken out now. So it definitely does ease some of the restrictions. It doesn't ease it enough for me because I would ease it by saying none of your effing business.
Yeah.
Where I buy my tamales and how they label them, because that's my job.
If you're trying to help the immigrant constituents who wish to sell their ethnic cuisine and ease their regulatory burden, the easiest way to do that is get the hell out of the way and let them sell their tamales or their pie. And if somebody wants to buy it, you were at Casbar Cigar, the Roadshow, a couple of weeks ago. I've been there before in the evenings at time. I was there, and a lady walked by down the sidewalk, and she would come in and talk to everybody and offer tamales. And every time that woman ever stopped by, I bought tamales. I trusted her. Her tamales were fantastic, and that was my business. It was not Ryan Gonzalez's business how much money she made or what was in her tamales. I had a transaction with this woman. She spoke limited English, and I didn't care. Her tamales were fantastic, and I ate them, and I don't need some Republican or Democrat politician tried to take my tamale lady away.
Yeah. And just to be clear, Ryan Gonzalez is easing it. Joanne Winholtz was trying to make it more restrictive. So Representative Ryan Gonzalez is doing a good thing here by trying to make it easier for people. His background is Hispanic. And so he's talking about the immigrant community. I look at the principle that this applies to everyone. And by the way, like other regulations, not part of this Cottage Foods Act, other regulations on like hair braiders, ladies that braid other ladies' hair, or I guess gentlemen, that they have to go through like full cosmetology school to learn how to hair braid. And most of these ladies are doing it like on their front porch for their friends and family. Yeah. And, just the tyranny of regulation and all that stuff that just, you look at, the high price of whatever, building a house or, car. What is the government doing to make it more difficult and more expensive for people to buy products or get your hair braided or buy your tamales? So it's that kind of BS that,
it's a bill. We'll talk more about it. We'll keep you updated. Laura and I will follow this every week. Tuesday, we'll give you an update on where the tamale bill is at.
The things I get obsessed with, Jimmy.
Yeah, well, give me the freedom to live my own life. Stay the heck away. And if I want to buy tomatoes from you, I don't care if you use pesto, whatever. I can buy tomatoes from you, and nobody needs to regulate that. Thank you very much.
Yes, yeah. Not anybody's business, and I don't use pesticides.
Well, Of course, I didn't. Now I don't know what else to say. I was using an example. You didn't have to prove me wrong. All right, you sent me a tweet from John Fund, who's a blue check mark on the Twitter, and talking about the president of Argentina, Milei, and it kind of goes back to this thing of get out of our lives and stop regulation. Capitalism actually works, and John Fund, Twitter, is talking about capitalism actually working somewhere.
Yeah, and my sincere hope with the Trump administration is that President Trump, who I'm sure watches the Jimmy Lakey show, so he's listening and he's going to take our advice. My sincere hope is that President Trump looks at how well Milei is doing in Argentina and says, I want to do better than that dude, because President Trump wants to be the best in the world. And Javier Milei, for those that didn't follow politics in Argentina, libertarian, like capital L libertarian. He ran for office and campaigned with a chainsaw, saying he's going to, not just cut everything, but just chainsaw the bleep out of it. And he got elected. So he's 2 years into his presidency. And listen to this: inflation rate has gone from 300% to 30, poverty from 52 to 31, budget deficit from 15% to 0. All of these things, like central bank reserves from 20 billion to 47 billion. And basically I think Donald Trump talked about some of these things, but didn't do them so quickly or harshly. And literally Milei went in and just like chainsawed the crap out of everything. And it's working. It's putting money back into the hands of people who actually earned it, shrinking the size of government. Where was this other one? GDP is, let's see, 84% down from 154%.
Wow.
Like huge changes in the economy. So here's what I say to President Trump, who, again, quite certain he's listening. Call your buddy Javier Milei in Argentina and say, can I steal your ideas? Just do this. Yeah.
I love this one because the socialists had, they're out living in their mom's basement, protesting in the streets of Minneapolis or wherever. The socialists say capitalism, that's going to cause poverty. The rich will get rich, the poor will get poor. If you look at the numbers coming in from Argentina, the poverty rate with capitalism unleashed there has actually fallen. Poverty rate was at 52%. Now it's down to 31%. So the rich aren't getting richer. Those people, it's helping people break free from the cycle of poverty.
Yeah, and the rich are probably also getting richer, but capitalism is the economic system that has lifted most people out of poverty across the planet than any other socioeconomic system. And, we like facts, we like evidence, we like proof. This is proof. Not that it's the only proof we've ever seen, but this is just kind of the most recent, look what's happened in the last 2 years. Let's do this here.
You have a moment. We should commemorate this. Delilah, Mark, take minutes here. Take notes. Laura Carno is going to have a moment of agreement with Jared Polis, the governor of the state of Colorado. Again, back to the state of Colorado here. But talk about this. People may be shocked that you find a moment of agreement with Polis.
Well, and let's be clear that I agree with him on a small thing, but it's the big thing that he's kind of missing. Jared Polis tweeted, "There is no reason that someone should be banned from exercising their Second Amendment right simply because they use marijuana." So the backstory of this is that marijuana is illegal federally. And so if you are a marijuana user, you're a criminal, so you can't buy a gun. And so when you go to buy a gun at a gun store, you fill out this form and it says, do you use illegal drugs? If you say, yes, I use marijuana, you don't get your gun. So he says, simply because they use marijuana, especially when that logic is not being applied in the same way to other substances such as alcohol. I'm not a fan of marijuana. I don't use it, but it's legal. What else? So my buddy Cam Edwards at Bearing Arms quote tweeted that and said, true. I agree completely with Cam, which is why I stole his idea here. Also true is there's no reason someone should be banned from purchasing a 30-round magazine, have to apply for a state-issued permission slip to purchase an AR-15, or wait after passing a background check to get their gun, all of which you support. So Polis says, Second Amendment should not prohibit you from this thing, but it should prohibit you from all of these things. And so he's completely inconsistent in his principle, and that's what we need to call him out on. So yes, but to Governor Polis.
Well, for those of you outside of the state, you hear us talk about Jared Polis. He will try to run for president, and he has proclaimed himself, and other people have tried to do as well, as a libertarian, and that he's kind of like a Javier Milei or something. But we know in the state of Colorado that he's a tyrannical, typical liberal guy that sometimes wraps himself up in some fake ideology of libertarianism. But he's the furthest thing away from a libertarian. So this is another great example that of him pretending to be a libertarian, putting out a talking point, acting like a libertarian, and then Cam Edwards calls him out and says, yeah, jackwaggon, but look what you also did. So it's important.
Yeah, because he's ideologically inconsistent on so many things, and that's where if he were a true libertarian, small L, capital L, whatever, he would say it is not the proper role of government for government to say you can exercise this right, you can't exercise this right, you can do this, but only under these circumstances and situations. That is not libertarian, and by the way, it's not for many Republican lawmakers who think that it's fine to do that stuff too. That is not, the proper role of anything, regardless of what party you're in. So, and when he runs for president, people like us
Yep.
need to tell the entire country he is not what he seems.
No, he's a chameleon. He pretends to be something, but he's really not. Laura Carno, we get to talk again next Tuesday. Carno Tuesday is back on track. In the meantime, betwixt now and when we meet again on a regular Tuesday event, we're going to have a Super Bowl or a big game. Do you watch that there at the Carno acreage? And do you have a team, or you're going to watch the halftime show, Bad Bunny or Turning Point? What say you?
The Carno acreage. Perfect.
You like that?
Yeah, I do like that.
I'm a branding genius, I tell you.
You are a branding genius. I will run this by Bill and see if he likes the Carno acreage.
It's kind of like Green Acres, but different. I think we could write a song. Carno Acreage is the place for me. We could do that.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Okay,
You're welcome.
I'm going.
I'm a branding genius, Delilah. A branding freaking genius.
I'm gonna go into ChatGPT after this and see if I can get us some lyrics for that. I have no idea where we just were. Super Bowl. Thank you. I was on Carno acreage. Yes, we will watch the Super Bowl. I've been swamped on many of the work projects, so I will be probably working and watching the game. I love football and I love the commercials, especially on this game. I don't know, bake a loaf of bread or something at halftime.
Maybe I'll bake a loaf of bread at halftime.
Do something else. Whatever. Yeah, organize my sock drawer. I don't know.
Okay, make some nachos. How about some nachos?
Well, I mean, we're going to eat, crappy food. That's going to happen.
Tamales from the street vendor, baby. That's what you want. Tamales from the street vendor.
If I could find one, that'd be awesome.
All right. Laura, I see you and producer Chad are scheming up that we need to go have a Melania movie screening with Christian Toto.
So Christian Toto, on the plane, I listened to his podcast about the Melania movie. He hasn't seen it yet. So this is I think we have a sweet window to go see this movie together. He was talking about what, kind of the typical left movie critics are saying about it and stuff like that. It was just a short, I think 15-minute or so podcast on it. But since he hasn't seen it, I haven't seen it, and I don't want to be going, alone, because what if there's
I haven't seen it.
Protesters and stuff. I think we need to support it. And so I think, and I haven't asked Christian about this, but I think Christian and you and Chad and me and, whatever other Jimmy Lakey listeners, the Republican women groups and the Casbar group and, the clash of the cultures of Republican women and Casbar guys and stuff. I think it would be a super fun time.
All right. We're working on it. Producer Chad, I saw this scheming. I'll go back and reread it and see what you guys are scheming up. So fastercolorado.org. You heard Sister Gloria saying it earlier on the song fastercolorado.org. Keeping school kids safe out there and making sure teachers and or staff members are trained to protect your kids with firearms. Fastercolorado.org, fastercolorado.org. Laura, enjoy the game. Bake some bread at halftime, said no one ever. And we'll talk to you Tuesday. Look, Carno Tuesday, back on track next week. All right, it's Friday morning. And ladies and gentlemen, I was out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. A lot of you maybe missed me. Our Twitter crowd has not reconvened. I'm looking at numbers here. Twitter, sign back up. If you're watching on the Twitter, share it out to let everybody know that we're back on live after missing 3 shows in a row. And also the YouTubers out there. The YouTubers might have settled down. So Twitter and YouTube, share it out there. Let us know. And the other pages are doing all right. But just watching the numbers here this morning. Again, 3 days off. It takes a while to kind of get everybody back in the habit of convening here together. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to welcome into the program from InvestUSA.org. His name is Michael Letts, law enforcement extraordinaire, a law enforcement expert extraordinaire. Michael Letts, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Jimmy. I'll tell you what, I'm going to hire you just to say the word extraordinary. Extraordinaire. I've never seen anybody be so fluent and so rolling with it like you
Yeah.
are, Jimmy.
And sometimes if I'm speaking Spanish, I can roll my R's and stuff like that, like Gloria Esteban. See, I do really well. I'm a man of accents.
Nobody would have known that you originally come from Mexico.
You know, if I keep this talk up, ICE is going to be coming on my door, so I got to be very, very careful.
I've got him on the line now.
Gringo.
I've got him on the line now, Jimmy.
You're calling him up. You're tracing that call. Yeah, I know where he's at. I know where the Lakey Entertainment Towers are. All right, Michael, that's good to have you here. First of all, Invest USA, very important more than ever, as we find out the left is not very happy with law enforcement, ICE agents, police officers. They've hated them for a long time. They wanted to defund them. Now they want to the police. Now they want to abolish ICE. We want men and women that are out there protecting and serving our communities, whether federal agents or local, to go home safe at the end of every shift. And that's what you're trying to do with investusa.org. I'll let you plug it right up front, sir.
Well, thank you so much, Jimmy. You know, now more than ever, as you said, it's a critical time for our first responders, for law enforcement. There are active targets on their back. Besides that, nobody in the left wants them to perform their duties. I guess they're scared they're going to go to jail, which they are. And so if you can, show our first responders and our law enforcement officers that they matter, that you appreciate their willingness to put their lives on the line to help protect you. So go to our website. That's investusa.org. It's a charity. Make it just a contribution of $1 if that's all you can afford. We want to tell them that hundreds of millions of people across the country support them, support what they do. And to, it's unfortunate, Jimmy, but we have the lowest morale in history of law enforcement. Wonder why. So let's see what we can do together collectively as a body to change that perception. Whether you give, whether you don't give, just make sure you tell a cop today, thank you for your service. That's what they need to hear.
Yeah. Michael, I want to get to a couple of topics with you. First of all, this Savannah Guthrie mother story in Arizona. Tragedy, the fact that we're even here. I'm glad it's getting coverage. I feel like I know more about it than maybe I don't even know the full story, but I feel like they're just giving me information, even if it's not pertinent. You're a law enforcement guy. You've listened to what they're saying. Do they know more than what they're letting on, or are they baffled, as the sheriff seems to be, as at every one of his press conferences? Give me your thoughts on what's happening in Arizona.
Well, now that we brought in the feds for them to reevaluate, recheck everything, yes, there's more information that's being made available publicly. However, the problem still is this, Jimmy. Let's deal with the statistics. Typically, victim knows its assailant 80% of the time. That's either a family, friend, coworker, etc. So when you begin to look at those statistics, that's where you begin to take a look at suspects, and that's why you see them concentrating on talking to who was the last person to see her, which was her daughter and her son-in-law. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're primary suspects, but it is where the number shows. But in this particular case, when you have overtures of ransom, which are kidnapping or abduction, but yet this is now we're going on the third attempt. 3 different dates were set for communication and nothing has occurred. That's not a very good sign, Jimmy. And the fact that she has medical issues and needs her medication. Now, hopefully you would think that if it's somebody that she knows, that they would at least have that medication to keep her moving forward. But there's a high probability now that something has occurred because of her physical condition, and now they don't know what to do. And so they're kind of stuck just dragging it out, and that makes it even harder on the family, Jimmy.
Yeah. There's a story this morning that a guy was arrested yesterday in California that they traced him almost immediately, that he pretended to be the ransom guy and said, have you sent us that Bitcoin? The feds wasted no time in getting him. I looked at his photo, his mugshot. Looks like he just might have. Looks like he could have fit right in with the Minneapolis protesters. I mean, he's not a pretty looking fella, but what kind of idiot would do something like that in this time of trauma? Try to fake that you're the guy that wrote the ransom note. I hope this guy goes away for a long, long time.
It's amazing, Jimmy. I'm glad that you brought that up, especially when you're talking about people who have profile. People get all kind of weird ideas, want to jump on the bandwagon. How can they extort that? And it makes it even harder on the family. And so this is a real tragic case. I've had people ask me, why would the president get involved? Well, Savannah's not a conservative. I think we all know that. The president is, but it's nice to see politics laid aside and the value of human life being concentrated on and provided whatever resources are necessary. Yep. Doesn't negate the fact that we have over 4,000 people who disappear every year with no trace. Well, no, we searched break a case; they remain cold cases. But anything we can do to help solve a cold case or anything along those lines, I think is in the best interest of the American people.
There's an Arizona news anchor that said they saw the ransom note, the real one, not the fake one this other guy sent, and knew it was not a hoax. Talk about this ransom note again. You brushed on it a second ago. If they're going to send a ransom note, they send it to TMZ. The family never got a copy of it, where that's just attention seeking. But it also makes you, are you really wanting to negotiate? Because you would have sent that to the family. And just give me your thoughts on this ransom note. The Arizona news anchor says, yeah, I looked at it and said, that ain't fake.
Well, Jimmy, I'm gonna have to give you an honorary badge because I feel like you're so too many times. You're learning too much about law enforcement. But you hit the nail on the head. When it is a real ransom occurrence, it's not trying to grab headlines. It's trying to get whatever it is I'm searching for and find out how to get it, and you not know where I'm at and get away with it. So that leads some real doubt about this ransom part to begin with. Now we're having to take a look at, if there were no abduction in terms of seeking a ransom, what would be a motive? And would it be a plot that was being considered that went awry, that went wrong? In all probability, Jimmy, I guess the tragic part about this is as each hour passes by, it becomes more and more difficult to have optimism that this is going to end out well.
Yeah. Switching gears, the voice of Michael Letts, if you're listening later on in the day, he's investusa.org, investusa.org. Michael, there's a troubling story that sometimes is not as tabloid or sexy and doesn't get the front page here, but there have been people arrested, 55 people arrested for a massive drug ring involving Chinese supplies. And fentanyl. We've stopped the drugs from coming across the border, but we're finding that there are drug rings already operating. I believe one was just busted up in Las Vegas. Talk about these drug rings that, what we worried about them getting across the border. Trouble is there's some of it already here, and they're producing it here in America.
That is correct. And, we've talked about this. In fact, Jimmy, I think we talked about this on your show a year or two ago, how the fact that there were biolabs controlled by the Chinese actually in production in this country. We made attempts to shut those down, and obviously we weren't fully successful. We just popped another one day before yesterday, and the chemicals that it had in there, the viruses, the bacteria, are startling. I mean, they could literally wipe out half of a country with what we discovered. And so you've got that, you've got their production for fentanyl and other things. Jimmy, it's time that we start applying to make sure. Again, there's been some hesitancy in the past. Well, look all what's going with ICE. Let's not knock the immigrants too hard. But quite frankly, if we don't do that, Jimmy, we're all at risk. And we need to concentrate on making sure we shut down that pilot lab day before yesterday. We picked up these other additional, I call them labs, where they're producing fentanyl here in the United States. And it's time that we use all of our intel operations coordinated together and just eliminate it from our continent.
Yeah. The voice of Michael Letts, his website, investusa.org, investusa.org. Michael, the big game, the Super Bowl this weekend, are you going to be watching it? Do you have a team favorite? And are you a Bad Bunny or Turning Point USA halftime guy?
Actually, I'm going to be at this time. You're going to get a kick out of this. And to answer the question, unfortunately, no, I will not be able to watch the Super Bowl. We are in the process, Jimmy. We're going to talk about this on your show at some point here in the near future. We have a graphic novel coming out for Invest USA. Now, that sounds big, but let me tell you, in the old days, we called them a comic book, okay?
Okay.
But they're much more detailed now, but they're the same principle. And the graphic novel has 3 first responder characters who are attempting to not just save in particular situations that occur every day now, but are trying to make sure our young people understand that first responders, law enforcement, firefighting, paramedics are honorable callings and worthy of serving the public. Because right now, Jimmy, sad fact of the matter is we can't get anybody to wear the badge. If we keep down this trend, we won't have a country anymore. So we'll be working on that on Super Bowl Sunday. One of the characters is Michael Stone. He is our law enforcement officer. He has, because of the name Stone, he has the characteristic of being immune to bullets. And they're patterning that carrot after me. Can you believe it or not, Jimmy? So,
you said graphic novel, and I'm like, oh, great. Next time I buy a Michael Letts book, I'm like, no, really, I just read the stories. I'm not looking at the pictures. I thought it was going to be something like that, and I was glad it's not. Yeah.
Oh, well, thank you. I think the rest of America appreciates that as well.
A graphic novel. I'm like, well, what the hell does that mean? I don't know what a graphic. How graphic is it, sir? How graphic is it? All right, Michael Letts, I appreciate you, my friend. InvestUSA.org. I'm sure we'll talk again very soon. I owe you a phone call anyway. Michael Letts, InvestUSA.org. Michael Letts, InvestUSA.org. All right, the question of the day, I'll come back and revisit that with you. Are you a Bad Bunny or a Turning Point halftime show person? Do you know how to watch the Turning Point halftime show? First of all, if you want to make it a statement, and if that's your choice, here's what you need to do. You need to, you ready? You need to turn off the Super Bowl, and that way the stream doesn't count you as still watching it, or change channels or something. And the Turning Point show, if you want to find out how to watch it, if you want to watch Kid Rock instead of the old Bad Bunny, who probably, I don't know what the odds are in Vegas or all the betting sites or platforms as to what kind of a political statement or graphic, speaking of graphic novels, that will happen on the Bad Bunny show. But a lot of folks are wanting to know, how can you watch the Turning Point USA Charlie Kirk version of the show? Well, it's on different networks, and you can go to let's see, make sure you give the website AmericanHalftimeShow.com or TPUSA.com, and it will be airing, broadcasting live on the Daily Wire Plus. So if you have a Daily Wire subscription, you can watch it there. Real America's Voice, Trinity Broadcasting Network is an opportunity. The TBN, Christian Broadcasting Network, TBN Trinity. If you can pop it right up on your screen. I don't know if I get that, because that's, some of these are going to be streamed and watched on the computer, but I think I want to watch it on the big screen on my giant television. So that's what I'll try to do. Kid Rock is a headliner. Brantley Gilbert's going to be there. Country rock singer. Number one hits include Bottoms Up and Dirt Road Anthem. Lee Brice, country star famous for songs like Rumor, One of Them Girls, and I Drive Your Truck, which was Grammy nominated. Gabby Barrett, rising country artist, American Idol standout, known for her breakout hit I Hope, and the American Country Music Award New Female Artist of the Year. So it's all Sunday night. If you want to watch it, go to Turning Point USA, and that will be the competing. Or you can watch it Turning Point, or you can watch Kid Rock, or you can watch the Bad Bunny. Which one are you going to watch? That is your question of the day. And make sure you have your strategy, how it is that you are going to how does it you're going to watch that Super Bowl and consume it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do this every Friday, and I got back in town late afternoon, early evening yesterday, and catching up on the show, and I forgot to text message Sherry and say, hey, could you do the 8:45 slot? And she thankfully messaged me and said, hey, are we on for today? Are you back in town? Or are you still off? And I said, no, I'm back, and I apologize that. So Sherry Cree, realtor extraordinaire. I like using that word, extraordinaire. Homeswithsherry.com. Homeswithsherry.com steps up to the microphone. Sherry, good morning to you. How are you?
Very good. How are you, Jimmy?
I'm very well. A week of travel, but I am back in the saddle again. Sherry, people, I tell them all this time, everybody knows a realtor. Somebody knows their cousin, their aunt, their mother, their next door neighbor, the person that shows up at the Pee Wee football game or whatever. But you got to interview your realtor. You got to get to know them. Just because you know them or maybe are related to them or they go to your church doesn't mean that they're the right person for you. And some people say, well, how do I interview them? Are there questions? I want to ask you that question. How should people interview their realtor? How do they find out if they have the right realtor? And because I tell people they should call everybody, but call you and find out exactly how you can help them. Walk us through what an interview looks like.
Well, first of all, in 2025, over 70% of licensed real estate agents did not do a single transaction.
Wow.
So you have to first stop, just know somebody is a realtor, just assume they know what they're doing. So 70% plus, you just have to know, just because you hold license and kind of look like you're a real estate agent on the social media doesn't mean they are actually committed in the profession. And so just imagine if you are putting the house on the market, what is your most concern, Jimmy? What would you ask?
I want to ask about the price. How much money am I going to make?
Okay. So when you're selling or buying a home, it's not just the price, it's also timing and how your experience ended up being as a seller or as a buyer. And if you're just selling, you can do for sale by owner. Anybody can sell a home. If you price it for $100, sold, right? So if the price is important to you, you have to think about why, how much you have to net from the sale. And a realtor should be able to guide you through, what price, the market supports, and then you be successful selling in that time frame that you need. So you could list a home for any price you want, but do you want to sit on the market for 200 days and then people start lowballing? So that price is, a big part of the sale, but I would, suggest that your experience of selling the home, can you get the experience? Can you get the outcome that supports what your life needs?
Yeah. The second question I would want to know is I want the right price. Do you walk people? Pricing could be different. So somebody might know, say, let's list it higher, and I think we can market it this way, or let's really go low. Is that part of the interview process to find out if the realtor's in line with your strategy, or maybe they can walk you through, if that pricing, getting it just right, but getting maximum dollars? That's probably one of the follow-up questions I have is, could we list it for a little bit more than that, Sherry?
Yeah. So sometimes the listing higher doesn't mean you get the higher end result. Sometimes you list slightly under market and then create artificially hot sellers market, just a micro market about your listing. If you strategically price lower than the market value, you generate more attention. If two or more people compete for your home, it always ends up selling at the higher price.
Oh, see, that's a strategy that folks don't think about. Just put the big sticker price on it, and a strategy that could be right for someone if the realtor's thinking. But again, 70% of realtors nationwide didn't do a transaction in 2025. But those that are in the market know that, hey, list it a little bit lower because that's going to get people's attention. They'll put an offer in, someone else will put an offer, and you could drive your own price up as opposed to listing it high and your price just has to keep being reduced.
Yes. And then the strategy is so different depending on client situation, what's important to you. It's surprisingly, it's not always the price is important to them, depending on why they're selling, what they're trying to accomplish. Sometimes the timing of house being sold is more important. Sometimes it's a estate sale, and then just make sure you go through the process to get the maximum value out of the market, but they don't have any personal attachment, like my house should be this much.
Yeah.
So it's very different. And I want to emphasize, real estate agents are all people just like you. So most important thing is compatibility. There's no absolute best agent for everybody. And all of us, we're not trying to do everything to everybody. So you really need to find somebody who's compatible with you as a human, and then also somebody you can trust based on their reputation, based on your relationship outside of the real estate, the person's attitude, how they listen to your situation, wants, and needs, and they pay attention and they actually care, because our job is more like representing you around the sale of the home. And sale of the home is never a mechanical thing for all of us, because home is where, very personal to our lives.
Yeah.
So you need to find somebody who's compatible with you. You trust them based on their attitude, their reputation. They listen. They, pay attention. They care about why and what's important to you.
Yeah. Let me ask you one more final question. I'm interviewing Sherry Crease, our guest. Homeswithsherry.com is her website. Homeswithsherry.com if you're in that I-25 corridor of Colorado, Denver, Boulder, Broomfield, up the I-25 corridor, out north, south, east, west. Reach out to her, and if she's a fit for you, you'll find out. She can also give you a referral service depending on where you're at. Sherry, you mentioned 70% of realtors. That's a stunning number. I will never forget that. Realtors in 2025 did not complete a single transaction. So that means narrows down your pool. Find out not just who looks good on paper or a business card, but who's actually selling and buying houses. That's a key part of the interview. I'm online a lot. You're online a lot, and I see different people with different strategies. I see marketing. I get mailers from realtors. I see business cards left at counters. Are there questions that people should ask their realtor about the marketing? How do you market? Are there newfangled ways that people should be marketing? Or is it the old-fashioned way of an open house every Saturday? Everybody seems to have a different marketing game. How important is that, and how can we find out if that's the marketing system we want?
Well, first of all, I think actually working realtors, there's no... we have a professional standard that all the technological things available in the marketplace. We all do. When I say we, they're actually doing our profession in the right way. We all use like drone videos to showcase how the home is situated, especially if you have selling point is on a golf course. You don't want to just say golf course on the golf course. You want to show how, the view is, and then how it's surrounded by rolling hills of green. If you are on the, if you're on a busy street, you may not want to highlight, the back into the industrial street with trucks going by. So the marketing is all about how you present your listing. And then just because you don't, as a seller, you don't see who's interested until somebody schedules showing and come into your property. But I explained to the sellers, your first showing is all happening online. So the online presentation of your listing is so important. The high definition professional photos, 360 virtual walk through, like a video game. You can turn right from the kitchen and you see the stairs going up. That's virtual walkthrough. We can also look at in a 3D from outside, like we call it dollhouse view, but you can flip around and you can see how the house box is, configured. The drone video, high definition photo, 3D walkthrough, the dollhouse, floor plan. Floor plan is very important because they all want to see how your furniture is going to fit, if you have enough room around the kitchen together. So the floor plan with measurement is very important. And then on the social media, people are so drawn to beautiful videos and beautiful music. I recently saw a very impressive listing video. They didn't say price. They didn't say, square footage. They didn't say, I'm a great realtor. It was the acreage property ranch with horses. And it was a cold winter day, kind of white, misty background. And then they created the short video on the social media about, jeans and cowboy hat and going to the barns and riding horses into the mist. So, you have to strike emotions to get attention. That what's unique selling feature about your home.
The voice of Sherry Cree. Your website's homeswithsherry.com in the Colorado area. I-25 corridor, Boulder, Broomfield, Longmont, Erie, Thornton. Hello, Thornton. How are you doing out there? Aurora, she can help you there as well. And by the way, if there's some area that she thinks maybe there's a better fit, she'll refer you to someone. If you have a question, if you know you're not in that immediate area, but you want to reference, she can do a free referral service.
I do a lot of out of state referral too. And the good realtor should have a solid network of same level professionals that you can reach out to. And I make referrals because I will grasp overall picture of your real estate situation. And I will not take a listing or buyer if I don't think I'm the best person to serve their needs.
Yeah.
So that's why I said compatibility. It's not just as a compatibility as a person. If Jimmy comes to me and then you need to find a commercial real estate, then that's not my expertise. But the good realtor, we have a connection, of resources, and then I will set you up. I will refer you to a commercial broker who best serve your needs.
And if maybe you're leaving the state of Colorado for whatever reason, Sherry can handle the things on this end, but she can also work in partnership with whoever and recommend you someone in another area too if you're moving out. So there's a lot of opportunities to talk to Sherry about whatever your strategy is. Homeswithsherry.com. Homeswithsherry.com. Sherry, always appreciate you. Go to her website. Again, you're going to sell your home. Remember this. It doesn't matter how many people at church or at the bingo parlor tell you that they're realtors. Listen, only 7. That's a stunning number right there, Delilah. 70% of realtors did not have really do a transaction in 2025. So just because they have a shingle that hangs up and says, I'm a realtor, it doesn't mean that they're the right fit for you. You need somebody that's working and actually accomplishing something and has that experience in the marketplace, not just a certificate to hang on the wall that they passed a test. Homeswithsherry.com. 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 Be sure to tell her that I, Jimmy Lakey, talking about her on the radio, on the television and in the radio and on the screens and where we're podcast broadcast and all sorts of ways that you can hear this show. Don't forget, right afterwards, this show will be live on all the streaming platforms. So whether you like the Spotify for your podcast or the iHeart or the Apple Podcast or the Podbean, however you like to listen to your podcast, you can hear the audio version of the show as soon as this show is done. Producer Chad magically syncs up the something with the something and the flux capacitor, and everything goes together, and it becomes a podcast right after this. So don't forget the podcast version of the show that will be on right after this. All right, I want to remind you, I appreciate your patience this week as we I had to be away caring for my mother. She turns 82 years old this week, and she's in a memory care situation. So been a long year for me. It's been almost a year since she took the downturn. So I needed to take some time and go check on her with my schedule. And I just decided it was going to be more focused on her. I've done the show from many hotel rooms while I'm there, but I wanted to just spend more time with her. So I appreciate your patience on that. Make sure you get it back on your calendar that we will be back here Monday indeed. And when we get back here Monday, we'll continue the conversation, do the Super Bowl ads, etc. Hopefully have some good news and solution on the Savannah Guthrie's mother's kidnapping. That's a bad thing. Something to keep a sharp eye on. Iran, while asking to be negotiated with by President Trump, is actually, according to sources, eyeing attacks. They took 2 oil tankers yesterday, not U.S. flag. They took some in the Persian Gulf yesterday. Supposedly there's intelligence now that shows they're trying to reconvene a weapons and a nuclear program. President Trump is not ruling out military care. And we'll try to get I'll try to talk to RP Newman over the weekend and see if we can get him back on, because at some point, President Trump did make that promise, keep protesting, help is on the way. And I'd like to know when help is on the way. I think President Trump is a person or a man of his word, and I would like to see him follow through on some kind of help. And what shape that looks like, I'm not exactly sure, but keep an eye on that. While all of the attention is talking about Super Bowl this weekend, going to be very, very interesting to see what happens with Iran in the next couple of days. Another story we want to dive into next week. There's a lot of investigations happening right now about 2020. They're learning that Georgia probably pretty much did. I mean, the more and more evidence points that President Trump was right about what happened in the 2020 election. Now, I'm a guy that believes in the Bible, that all things work together for good, that those that are in Christ. So I think it all worked together for good, that the President Trump's second term the way it worked out is much more effective than maybe his second term had it been consecutive. But there's a lot of information coming out about the 2020 elections in Georgia. There's also a story out there that the Department of National Intelligence, they have been investigating whether Maduro, especially in Puerto Rico, was hacking voter machines. And everybody said those machines are so safe and so healthy and they can't crack them. And the DNI is actually looking, the National Intelligence says Tulsi Gabbard's office actually looking as to whether Maduro might have had some access to some voting machines. And that's the office in Puerto Rico. So we'll dive into that because there's a lot of stories circulating and percolating. And the media does not want to cover that because if you find out that the 2020 election was faulty, then that means Trump was right. And folks don't want Trump to be right in the mainstream media. So that's going to be something we'll talk about next week as well. All right. Can I get serious with you? Everybody get real serious now. Straighten up. I probably will record the Bad Bunny, just so you know, and also the Turning Point, because I'm not sure. I want to watch both of them, but because I got to talk about them and I have to watch them, so I'll figure that out. But which halftime show are you going to watch? Are you going to watch the Kid Rock led Turning Point halftime show, or are you going to watch the Bad Bunny one? Which one will you watch? And again, if you want to send a signal, change the channel at halftime so that the algorithm shows there was a dip in viewership of the Super Bowl. That's my advice to you. All right. Who's got $9? $9. You got $9 right now, Delilah? $9. Every day at our school in Rwanda, Legacy Christian Academy, we try to give the kids protein. Well, my son went back the first time. If you don't know, go watch the story, riverspromise.org. My son, we went back his first time, and kids that were in the orphanage when he was were still kind of small and frail and just weak looking. And my son came back his first time back, and he had muscle tone, and he was filled out and stocky, not just built. They're like, what happened to him? And I said, it's called protein. These kids don't get protein in their diet. Protein is a luxury, and they just don't get it. Protein is something that the rich people eat, and the poor people just do good to get some rice or maybe some beans have some protein, or maybe they're not eating at all. And consistent protein is important. So when we started Legacy Christian Academy, I said, we got to give the kids protein. And every day, unless we give another form, but it's usually eggs. Eggs are a simple and easy way to deliver protein to the kids. And every classroom has roughly about 30 kids in it. And for 30 eggs is about $9 is what we pay for it. And so every day, every classroom, just eggs alone, we're spending $9. And you can kind of do the math. If we do that every day and this many classrooms, and you times that by how many days your kids are in school, we buy enough eggs. So if you have $9, that is a way that you can feed an entire class protein, which is eggs in the form of eggs, at our Legacy Christian Academy. How many got $15? $15 is how you could give a fruit. Fruits, there's all sorts of amazing fruits there in Rwanda. Passion fruit is one. There's just so many great fruits, and the kids need fruits. And we buy those, and we can feed an entire class fruit for one day for $15. Kids need vegetables. I know kids, but these kids actually aren't picky on vegetables. Kids are like, I don't want my vegetables. These kids are like, I get food. They don't care if it's a vegetable or not. They love it. Matter of fact, a lot of them, when you ask their favorite food, they'll list a vegetable because they're just happy to get it. It costs $17 per day per class of roughly 30 kids to put vegetables in that classroom. We make a lot of things from flour, from breads, etc. $40 is a giant bag of flour. $43 is a bag of rice, about 220 pounds of it. We have 220 pounds of beans is 130. The bottom line is what I'm telling you is that everything from just a couple of bucks, like $9, up to $130 are specific items that you can buy for our kids and for Legacy Christian Academy in Rwanda. So I don't know if you got $9, buy 30 eggs. Maybe you want to buy 60 eggs for $18. And these are actually the market prices. I asked my guys who do our shopping for the school and to order the food. I said, give me the prices. And these are the actual prices of the converted number of what they do. All told, it turns up $30 is what we kind of average it out. And that feeds one child 2 meals a day for an entire month. But those are the specific items. So if you love eggs and you want kids to have protein, $9 buys 30 of them. Go to the website, riverspromise.org. It's right there on the screen. If you're a fruit and vegetable lover, $15, $17. feeds an entire classroom fruit for one day. You get the idea. 30 plus kids in that classroom, $130. If you can do $130, do it once, do it twice, do whatever. 220 pounds bags of beans, 220 pounds for $130 is what we do. And that's another source of protein. Now, here's a big one. The kids love potatoes. Kids here in America love French fries, right? They don't know French fries per se, but we buy potatoes we buy 220-pound bags of what they call Irish potatoes. And that bag of 220 pounds, and the kids always love their potatoes. It's a great source of energy for them. $60. $60 buys 220 pounds of potatoes, Irish potatoes. I don't know if that's like Irish rosy, but they're Irish. They're Irish potatoes. They're different than russets, I guess. So if you'd like to help us out, there's a website on the screen, riverspromise.org. Make those amounts. You can make a comment, send us a note, say, hey, I just donated $9. Make sure we go to eggs. But we'll see those strange amounts coming in, and we'll do it. If you got our email newsletter, you can go back and read the numbers there, or message us, and I'll send you the list again. And help us out with some food items that would really help us. Food is our number one need, feeding those kids every day. I said on Monday, I didn't get to talk to you afterwards, it's like Groundhog Day. Every day I walk out, the kids are still hungry. I walk back out, the kids are still hungry, and we have to feed them every day. So if you can help us, that's just kind of a range of how you can help us. $9 is a 30 plus eggs, and that feeds a classroom for one day, and the potatoes, etc. You get the idea. All right, I'm Jimmy Lakey. Pleasure to have you here. Go to donate, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org, riverspromise.org. I appreciate you all letting me have a couple of days off this week to deal and spend some time with my dear mama. And she's keep her in her prayers. She turns 82 years old on next week, and I will not be there for her birthday, but I was glad I got to go there and spend some time with her this week. So thank you very much for joining us back in. Tell all your friends and neighbors that Lakey's back. Just took a couple of days off. Rare, but I needed to do that just so I could focus on a couple of other things that are happening. So thank you very much. I appreciate you. All right, riverspromise.org is the website. And also, don't forget, my friends, don't forget, kiddos, that you can also contact us, info@jimmylakey.com, info@jimmylakey.com. Everybody enjoy your Bad Bunny or your Turning Point, whichever. We'll talk about it Monday morning. Remember, make notes on your favorite commercials. You're all of our reporters, ace in the streets. Going to let us know exactly how it is that things go. I'm glad to be back. Thank you, Delilah. Delilah's happy to see me. I think she was bored the last few days. No one picked on her. No one gave her any assignments. You got a lot of work to do, Delilah. You were really slacking here the last couple of days, I think. Is Aiden the hipster? Where the other hipster youth? They probably think I'm still out of town and haven't shown up to the Lakey Entertainment Towers yet. I'm watching them. I know when they're coming. Ladies and gentlemen, we got to do the stolen memes. Hold on, everybody. I forgot the stolen memes section of the show. See, this is why I'm out of habit. I'm totally out of the habit. Yeah, producer Chad was being very nice. I think he can tag me now. Yeah, I think if you do, the @ sign in front of that my name, producer Chad, I think it pops up on my screen. Try that. Let's see. All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, stolen memes. I apologize. Hey, this is a cheap show. Okay, ready? Round and around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. This is from the Grammys. This is from the Babylon Bee. You ready for this? Look at there. There's a room full of pedophiles protesting that ICE is deporting pedophiles. Yep, that's about par for the course, isn't it? There we go. I see it. Producer Chat, it popped up on my screen. It says I should open this chat. And it says, you're a dumbass. Ouch, that hurts, Producer Chad. All right, here we go. Round and around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. There we go. When you're so drunk. Oh, I got to blow this up. Crap, I got stuff all over the screen here. When you're so drunk, you do that one eye thing that lets you see well, so you walk, you kind of squint. I don't know what they're talking about, Delilah. Delilah knows. I don't know. Producer Chad, you'll have to demonstrate and tell me how that works. I don't understand. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Breaking news. Is that me? Nope, that's not me. The people who said Trump would destroy America are destroying America. This is truth. Truth bombs heard. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Look over there, son. I like the father and son are wearing matching shirts. That's kind of cool, isn't it? What if my son wants to wear matching shirts with me? At that age, he might have. Now, I doubt it. Look over there, son. Violent protesters are here to teach us about peace and equality. And how to be fat and have blue hair. And be ugly, too. They're teaching us that as well. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. In honor of Black History Month, please remember the fallen. There it is, the fallen. Thanks to liberals and their woke policies, Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben. Amen. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. People who take naps are the real heroes. Because it takes courage to wake up twice a day. That's funny. Heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they just take naps. That's it. Round around the globe we go. Where we steal the memes from, no one knows. Ladies and gentlemen, China stepped in here and said no more. They banged the gong from the Great Wall and say, no more stealing of intellectual property. All right, thank you for the great reminders about the memes. I apologize for the false alarm, and some of you just like went apoplectic about the memes. I apologize that. I'm looking Jim, Arloa. Everybody tunes in for Laura Carno and memes. Me, I'm just a little chopped liver in the meantime. In the middle of it, I am. There's your memes for the day. Everybody go take a nap. Have the courage to wake up 2 times in one day. Should I play the music now? I'm a little gun shy. I'm a little shy here that maybe I missed something. Did I miss anything? Popped up right on my screen. It didn't say I was a dumbass. It just said it's just my name. But he thought it. He thought it. He was thinking, at Jimmy Lakey, dumbass. Hurts right here. God bless you. God bless America. I am Jimmy Lakey. Go donate to charity, riverspromise.org. God bless you. God bless America. Peace. I'm out of here.